to ultimately realize that being sad and focusing on my depression was not going to make this virus go away. You know, I had to accept that this whole feeling of loss was not my fault and that it was out of everyone's control. I knew that to pull myself out of this pattern of self-loathing and sadness that I really needed to stay focused on the present, and the future was out of my hands, so I needed to move on from that. My mom always said to me that everything happens for a reason, and maybe I wasn't meant to have a prom or graduation because God knew that me and my generation could handle that, and that we were strong enough to face that ourselves. At the beginning, when they first announced that schools were going to be closed for the rest of the year, my heart immediately sunk. It was a feeling of so many emotions, mostly sadness, and I felt like I couldn't handle it. And because of that, I cried every day for about a month and a half. And my depression had gotten so bad that it felt like I had no reason to live anymore. And I was so focused at that point on what I had lost that I completely forgot about the fact that my life was not over. That this moment did not mean that the rest of my life was going to be terrible. And just because my senior year was canceled did not mean that I had the right to feel sorry for myself every single day, because doing that would only make myself feel worse. I mean, I felt ridiculous because I had let myself feel like a couple months was going to be the most important time in my life, when, I have my whole life ahead of me, and I completely just forgot about that because I was so focused on this one thing that had put a roadblock in my way. I had to tell myself that focusing on the present was the only way to make the situation better. I was so focused on my future that when it was completely torn away from me, that I felt like I had no power. And I think sometimes when we focus too much on the future, we put so much emphasis on the future. So we think that the future is the most important part of our lives, when it's the present, because it's the only thing we can currently control. We can't control our past, we can't go back in time to change a mistake we made or to change an outcome of a situation. We can only focus on what we can do in the present to make our lives better now, right now, not focusing on the future, which is something I did, but I learned my lesson by self-loathing. And I also had to realize that it's not the events in our lives that give our lives purpose. It's not our prom and how beautiful we looked and the dress that we bought, or our graduation and the piece of paper we received that tells us our achievements. It's the people around us that validate us. It's those that we love that really are our main source of happiness. And we know each other so much more when we focus on each other. We create an understanding and a bond that can last. The statement that I would like to share with you all revolves around many things. Firstly, it revolves around taking time for others. You might not even realize how much in common you have with a friend or family member. If you really take the time to connect with them, you'll understand them so much better. The world is constantly changing, and adversity will always be in your way, but the people that love you and care about you, they'll never go away. They'll never stop supporting you if you support them. That is something I learned during this time, because the events in your life are constantly changing, and this virus is standing in our way. But we can beat that if we stand with our friends and family members, and we connect with them, and we stay in relationship with them, even if it's over the phone. Secondly, is live in the moment. I know for myself that I've spent so much time preparing myself for the future and, reflecting on the past when we've been ignoring the present. The only thing that we can change currently right now is the present moment. And that's what I plan to do, and I hope you all do the same. There can always be good that comes out of sadness, and I know because I've turned the sadness that I felt into something good, and that's love through my friends and family. We have to remember that the clouds only stay for so long, and that the rainbow will always come out. The sun will always shine again. The world will not always stay in darkness. Life goes on, and we have to keep that in mind always. My name is Abby Dorr, and this is my brief but spectacular take on how I turned this dark time in quarantine into a time where I grew my relationships with those I loved and matured into the young adult that I am.